Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Commissioner. Thank you for coming here today. I know you were talking on House Bill number 5500. My question is on House Bill 5397. It is the declaring gun violence a public health crisis and establishing an advisory council. And I am curious to, number one, your thoughts, because it is going to be under your agency. There's all just gun violence. So will this incorporate that? Will this get to the root of the problem of gun violence? And why is it a public health crisis?
Did you get all that, Commissioner, or do you need to have it repeated?
So you broke up just for a second. So maybe you could just restate, was your question on whether this advisory council would be able to get to the root of all gun violence? Is that correct?
So that's, I guess, my biggest question, because we know there is gun violence, especially in the cities. And so I guess two questions. My first question is this going to get to the root of the problem?
Mm-hmm. So I think the key thing is that I know that there are several bills that are being looked at. And I think the key with the advisory council is that it does equip us with experts in the area and allows us to have the tools to identify what the key problems are, how to work with people in the community and leverage resources at DPH so that we can get to the crux of what you're talking about. So really the advisory council's goal would be to identify solutions that would work best to address the problem in the community.
So I was ranking a few years back on public health and public safety. And of course, guns is a big issue in that committee, as in my opinion, is where it belongs in judiciary. And there is already an advisory council set up after Sandy Hook happened, that godforsaken tragedy. There was a council that is already set up. So it seems like we're duplicating. Why would we not take the council that is set up, has been studying all of this for years, and use that and add on to it? Why are we duplicating this council?
So I think we're looking at trying to find the best way forward to be able to address this issue. I understand your point that there is a council that is already doing this. I think that we do have staff that sit on that council as well. What our goal at DPH would be is specifically to address the parts on community engagement and where our staff can influence and provide input to be able to create some of those public health interventions that complement the interventions that are being done by public safety. And so what I think our goal would be in all of this is to work with all of you to find the best way forward with all the bills that are out there to be able to accomplish the goal that we have at hand, which is to reduce gun violence and its effects overall. So for example, the impact that gun violence has on those who are not even the recipient of a gunshot, the impact it has on a community, the impact it has in a broader perspective is one that is certainly one of public health. The impact it has on other youth that might be influenced by things that are happening around them is one of public health. And so really bringing forward the public health impact of this type of violence is where we see our contributions to be. And identifying the interventions to work with people in the community.
Yeah, and I'm really hopeful that this is the case, because as long as I've been in the legislature and seen many gun bills and many proposals, it always affects the law-abiding citizens. It never affects people that don't have gun permits, that are, shooting each other without, and I've been saving articles. I have articles from the Waterbury Republican, felons having guns and killing and all these things, and it never addresses that. And that is the problem. It's not people that, use this as a sport, have their permit, law-abiding citizens. This is the crimes that are happening, and nothing has been able to fix that. And so I hope that, we're not duplicating efforts. I hope that everybody is going to be working together, not to take guns away, not to take, affect these law-abiding citizens, because they always do. They never affect the people that need to be affected by these gun laws. So I really hope, and there's so many other acts of violence out there besides guns that, it would be good to kind of bring some of those things in as well. There's stabbings, there's all kinds of things. And it's not just always about guns. So I hope all of this will be brought into that. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Though I have to say that I strongly disagree with your statements about never. It's very strong when we use absolutes. These gun laws that we passed since Sandy Hook and even before have had a profound impact. The mere fact that criminals use guns is not an excuse for not taking action. And I would also argue that there is nothing more lethal than a gun. They were intended and created to kill people. So that's a very different thing from a knife in my point of view.
I think we can agree to disagree, Representative. I'm not sure part of the big gun law was magazines can only hold 10 rounds, and so 10 to 11 rounds, one bullet. But it is I agree that it is a violence out there, but I'm just concerned that all these bills, I want to make sure they get to the root of the problem of what really is the problem.